One of the coolest drum intros ever written, and there's 3 different ways to play it. Hello there, my name is Will and welcome along to another What's That Groove, where I'm continuing to break down legendary rock song drum intros at the moment, and in this lesson I'll be teaching you 3 different ways in how you can learn the intro to Come Together by the Beatles, of course played by the infamous Ringo Starr on the drums. There's a few different ways to approach this one, so let's get into it and break things down. So to get started in understanding this drum part, I think it's really useful to first of all understand how 16th note triplets work. 16th note triplets are a way of counting, and it's where you play or count 6 evenly spaced hits per beat. Sometimes they're also known as sextuplets, and they turn up throughout this drum part that Ringo plays. Now you can count 16th note triplets as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or it's quite useful to keep count of where you are on the bar. You can also count them as 1 under, 1 under, 2 under, 2 under, 3 under, 3 under, 4 under, 4 under. And to begin with, what I'd like you to try and see if you can do for step 1 is play a bit of a warm-up exercise to understand how that feels to play those triplets around the kit. And see if you can play 6 evenly spaced hits on each of your drums around the kit. So 6 on the snare, 6 on the tom, 6 on the second rack tom, and 6 on the floor tom. If you don't have this particular setup, it's absolutely fine to double up on another drum. Play the 16th note triplets, it's also worth learning the single stroke 4 rudiment at this point as well. This rudiment is based in triplets, and what you're going to do is actually take 2 of the hits of your 6 away, the last 2. So now you're going to play 1 under 1, 2 under 2, 3 under 3, 4 under 4. Try that around the kit. Then see if you can play 1 bar of 16th note triplets, followed by 1 bar of single stroke 4s. Then for your next challenge, see if you can halve that. So half of the bar 16th note triplets, half of the bar single stroke 4s. Now it's important to remember when you're learning any Beatles song that Ringo Starr was a left-handed drummer playing a right-handed setup. So some of his drum parts sometimes feel quite odd because he was leading with the left hand. And for that reason, I think it's worth playing the exercise that we just learnt there in reverse, starting with the left hand. This will be more difficult than you think it would be. So try the same thing again. We're going to play half a bar of 16th note triplets and half a bar of single stroke 4s, but left hand first. It's worth practicing both approaches with that exercise because it gives you the tools that you'll need to be able to play this in several different ways. The Ringo Starr way and the slightly easier way. So for the first approach, I want to show you how I think most right-handed players would think to play this drum intro. The drum part itself can be broken up into 4 beats, and the first beat is just 2/8 notes played on the ride and the bass drum, so just 1 and. The second beat is a single stroke 4, the rhythm we just learned in step 1, played on the hi-hat, and we'll stick with the right hand lead for this one. So we're going to have 1 and 2 under 2. Then for your third beat, you're going to play 6 evenly spaced 16th note triplets on your first rack tom. So you now have 1 and 2 under 2, 3 under 3 under. And then finally, for your fourth beat of the bar, you're going to play a single stroke 4 on your floor tom. So just 4 under 4. Then when you put this all together, you have 1 and 2 under 2, 3 under 3 under 4 under 4. Speed it up and play it 4 times in a row, and you have your first approach to how you can play the intro to come together. So that's one way in how you can play that drum intro, and I think it sounds pretty convincing, but it does slightly differ from some of the ways that Ringo has explained that he's played the drum beat in the past, and we're going to dive into that in step number 3. So as I explained earlier, Ringo Starr was a left-handed player, and there's actually a video online where Ringo explains this by demoing how he thinks he played Come Together all those years ago. I'll put a link in the description. Now, the rhythm that he plays is exactly the same, but there are 2 major differences. First of all, you're going to lead with your left hand on the hi-hat and the toms, and you're also then going to swap the toms around. So rather than playing rack tom to floor tom, 3 under 3 under 4 under 4, you're going to play that in reverse and go floor tom to rack tom. 3 under 3 under 4 under 4. Which, when played with the first part of the drum intro, sounds like this. That's how Ringo explains it in that video. However, I'm not entirely convinced that's exactly what he plays on the record. Let's take a look in step number 4. Even though Ringo Starr explains in that video that he thinks he played that drum part floor tom to the rack tom, I think when you listen carefully to the isolated drum tracks that are available online of Come Together, that there's actually 3 toms getting involved. Now, if you think back to that kind of time, 1969, when they were recording Abbey Road, and the recent Get Back documentary that we saw, Ringo Starr actually plays 3 toms in those recording sessions rather than his normal 1 up, 1 down. And I think all 3 toms are getting involved. So to play this, we're going to still be thinking in left-hand lead, however we're going to change things slightly. We're going to start off the same with our ride to hi-hat single stroke 4, and we're going to lead with our left hand on that. But for the third beat, rather than playing 6 hits all on one drum, we're going to change the last right hand to land on the rack tom. So now your 3 under 3 under is going to go tom, 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 second rack tom. From there, you then have your most difficult movement, which is to try and see if you can play a single stroke 4 across 3 toms. So still leading with our left hand, we're going to play left, right, tom, second tom, floor tom. If you can do that, it's worth playing both those beats together. So 3 and 3 and 4 and 4. If you're able to do that, then put that back with the first part of the drum intro, and nice and slowly, it should sound something like this. Once you've pieced it all together slowly, speed things up and play it 4 times to get what I think is the closest representation of what Ringo Starr played to the intro to Come Together by the Beatles. So there you have it, one of the coolest drum intros ever written, and there's 3 different ways to play it. I hope from watching this lesson that you now have an approach that works for you and you're able to play along with the song. If you could go ahead and press the like button on this video, that'd be amazing, and why not subscribe to the channel as well to see more drum lessons just like this one. Until next time, my name's Will, and I'll see you again soon.